Solar Joe.
This is gonna be easy for me, bro, because I got so many questions.
Okay, I got a question for you, Solar Joe. What do you do? I mean, I see you posting all over the place, and I see you all over the social limelight. I see you at SolarCon. I see you D2D. I see you networking with everybody. What exactly do you do? Who do you work for? Do you work for yourself?
Yeah, I guess I'm an entrepreneur, but I've been an entrepreneur since I started door knocking 20 years ago. And my sales career has evolved over time, and then my solar career has evolved over time. Everybody has their own journeys, everybody has a different path they're getting on and going through. And for me, when I first started solar 8 years ago, I started as a closer. I was already had my sales experience. I was a door knocker. I was salesman of the year. I was like, all right, I'm going to sell solar. I'm going to just sit in the house. I'm just gonna get appointments on a close, and I closed lights out, right? But as time goes on, and then COVID hit, all of a sudden my tour of California, went from hero to zero. Then I had to readjust, and then I started going to training and using social media and Facebook groups and doing events and webinars, and then I was doing live streams, interviews, and I just kept pushing myself outside my comfort zone, and eventually I still using my sales skills. Now I'm just using a different place in the solar industry, so more of like a overview. So I'm the one of the owners of the Solar Academy, obviously, and one of the founders of SolarCon. So more of like an industry perspective as opposed to just selling per home. But I'm still doing lots of trainings that I've learned over the years and tips and tricks. And but I'm not closing as much anymore. I just get those easy ones now. Those mentees or people who just have a referral, and it's like those are I'm not going buying leads or door knocking or cold calling as I once did before.
No, that's great. Thanks for saying it because I always wondered what you did. I didn't know if you had your own solar company. And at first, because when I saw you there, I think you were on the stage for exclusive leads. I think I saw you at SolarCon. That's where the first time I saw you. So exclusive reviews or something like that. I forgot who's there, and I didn't know if you worked for them. And then I thought, wow, what a side gig! This guy's all over the place interviewing everybody. How brilliant, you know what I mean? And it just seemed like you knew everybody in the industry. So I thought that was so neat.
You know how that came about is when I started my Facebook group, Solar Objections.
Uh huh.
Um, it was like really started on fire, and people started gravitating towards it. And I was really trying to listen, to the community and the audience and see what they wanted. And somebody one day said, "Hey, you know what? We should do a live stream or a live role play and just kind of throw objections and have fun with it." I said, okay. That Wednesday, I had my first guest come on. I remember Ahmad Salama, who was amazing. He did 45 minutes of a pitch from the beginning to the end, overcoming objections, tonality, just closing. It was like the whole 9 yards. It was my first one ever, and I was like, and I was terrible. I had no idea what I was doing. I just up there, blah, I don't know, and I didn't know what I was doing. But he was amazing. So then from that point on, I realized it doesn't matter how bad I am or I don't know what I'm doing, as long as I have a good guest. So every week from then on for 2 years, I interviewed another expert, another pro, another solar entrepreneur. And 2 years later, I learned a lot from all these interviews myself, but I also got a lot of connections. And also the community sees me trying to help out, and they see that, I'm that guy as opposed to like taking or wanting something for myself. Just try and give value.
No, that's great because that's kind of where I see my career kind of going too because I'm trying to expand too. So I've been in the trenches as you know for so long. I've been there since I think '99, so 24 years out in the house at the table, and seeing you and seeing your role and seeing how you expand your business. I love it, and that's the reason for the question. I was like, what does Joe do? Solar Joe. Is he in the house? Does he have a solar company? I see him part of SolarCon. I just wasn't sure. You're everywhere.
So I was actually a closer, and that's all I did. I went in a house and just closed deals. And the company I worked at, it was great, but it was a culture of a setter closer, door knockers, closer, and it was kind of like like I don't know, that not boring, but like just monotonous kind of energy, and it wasn't like people were excited or I just went in there and I had just like new mindset because when you're fresh to something, you don't look at anything negative.
Right.
Like you look at it as a great thing, like net metering 3.0. Like new people going into it love it. They're like, oh, this is awesome because they don't know what net metering 2.0 was, right?
Right.
So for me, I was able to have this new mindset and go in there excited and start closing deals, 20, 30 a month. And that energy really went through the whole company and it was became a life on its own. And I was closing, and then it was just things after over, over times like you rely on those leads, right? You rely on those door knockers. So I just had a goal of just keep evolving and adding more tools to my arsenal, and it just got me to where I am today.
That's awesome. That's a good story. Love it.
Yeah, how about you, Troy? Like Dinbokowitz, I mean, you're one of those guys that is a door knocking legend, and not just door knocking, but like solar door knocking legend. Like you're right there, beating, next to Michael O'Donnell every single week. Like every time Mike shows his leaderboard, you're right next to him or right above him, and like you're doing this for years. Golden Door Awards, and people really don't know as much as they should who you are. So, like, just quickly, if you could tell, I know everybody, a lot of people know who you are now based on like more of your social media, but like, it's been crazy how many people didn't know who you are. I was like a big, big follower and big fan of yours, but like, why? Why is like Michael Donald getting all the glory and you're right there with him?
Well, at first when Sun Solar Solutions opened up back in 2015, my role was sales. Right, we had to generate sales. That's the lifeblood of your business. So I just got into doing that every day, going out, building teams, showing people how to knock on doors, and generating the sales for the company. So I was a big part of that, a big percentage of Sun Solar Solutions sales over the past 8 years. And I think if you look at what my team did, my goal was always to try to maintain 30 to 40% of the total company sales through my team. That was kind of a goal, and I took it personal. So that's why a lot of people didn't know who I was. I was out in the field. I was running 3 to 4 appointments a day, always just trying to tweak things, trying to get a three-prong attack, generate the opportunity. And we all know, the opportunity is everything because you don't have a sale if you don't have an opportunity. So just different models, rolling the dice, trying different things, trying to generate as many appointments as we could, and then get them closed. But yeah, to answer that question, just being out in the streets, running appointments day after day after day, 3 to 4 of them, that's where I've been.
Is there a point, over your career? Because for me, I started just when closing because I didn't know, like that's just what I'm doing this, and they gave me the job, right? But like for you, like have you been door knocking the whole time through? Did you start balancing it more and more closing? Because if I have a Troy DeBacquez on my team, he's not door knocking; he's closing as many appointments as possible. Are you
Well, yeah, you're
still door
right.
knocking?
No, you're right. I stopped door knocking probably 2 years into my solar career, 2 to 3 years. It's my mentality and my game plan is to get 3 different sources, 4 sources working for me. What's going to put me at the kitchen table, right? And so I found by building a team of setters that knock on doors during the day, right? And then I would have all the local newspapers, the local magazines carrying my ad. I kind of they knew that if they had space in the how I did that is if they had space, they put me in there because these local magazines, they always have space at the end of the month, and you can get a discounted rate, and your ROI is going to be much greater, right? So I would go make deals with all the different papers, and then the newspaper was good for a while when people were still reading it, and then postcards, direct mail, right? Direct mail, doing
Correct,
postcards,
yeah.
sending out letters to new homeowners, giving them a greeting card, congratulations on your new home. It's always a good time in your life when you have a new home. You're probably thinking about what am I going to do as far as for my electricity needs. You might have concerns about how big is my bill going to be. I would love to have a 15-minute conversation with you. So just sending them out greeting cards, letters, like I said, through the magazines, and then having the setters, that would put me in a good amount of appointments, 3 to 4 every day. And the goal is always to, close 1 out of every 3. If you can, I was more about 50%, 2 out of 4. But if I didn't close 7 to 10 a week, I would be disappointed. So that's why the numbers were insane, just because Mike O'Donnell was also good at what he did. And we
Yep.
had a really good competition going back and forth every single week. We were trying to beat each other, and we would
Love
not
that.
really share our secrets. And sometimes he was dropping carpet bombs, and I don't know where they were coming from. And I'm like, he figured something out. I got to figure out what it is. And then I would try to get it out of him, and I know he's lying to me. And then a lot of times and then Val would say that he would call into the office when I was killing it, saying, dude, where's Troy getting all these? There's no way he's knocking on all these doors. Where are these leads coming from? He's figured something out. So it was back and forth for years, and that's what drove sales through the roof. And not only that, but you're leading by example, right? I mean, if the two of the owners are at the top of the board week after week after week, you're showing everybody else that it's possible, right? You're showing everybody else what is possible by going in and closing solar. So it was.
Wait. Was Michael O'Donnell not giving you secrets, but you were giving it to him? Is that what was going on there?
Yeah, I mean, I would share my secrets some of the times. I do now. I share everything now, just because it's a different. I'm in a different position now. Now I'm looking to mentor. I'm looking to teach, educate, and I love that. When somebody comes to me and says, "Hey, Troy, they seen one of my clips or they saw one of my trainings," and they say, "I listened to what you said. I went out there and I generated myself $12,000 in income or in commissions over the last 7 days by just listening to what you said." There's no better feeling than hearing that, right? That just
Yes.
it's such a good feeling inside that you were able to help somebody. For a long time, I kept all my secrets to myself because I was always afraid of somebody getting what's mine, right? And then after a while, and after you've had a lot of success, you want to give that to somebody else, and you want to make everybody else around you better. And I found, I honestly could tell you, by giving my secrets to everybody around me and surrounding myself with good people, it's really, it's been a blessing. It really has, because seeing other people succeed around you and you had a piece in that, there's no better feeling, like I said.
I agree. I'm actually a ex wrestling coach, and one of the best feelings I ever had was like teaching a athlete a new move they never had before, and then watching them use that move and winning a match. Like to me, that's gold to me, right?
No, what you just said is I'm a football coach. I was a
Okay.
youth football coach for many, many years. I have 3 boys and 3 girls, and I coach the baseball teams, the football teams, but being out there every day and teaching these kids how to play football and how to execute a play, right? And the timing and everything
True.
that goes
That's
into
true.
it. And then being there on a Saturday when that play that you worked on all
Magic.
week just scored the winning touchdown. Oh my Lord. I'll remember, I have those memories for a lifetime. But maybe it's the coach in us, right? Maybe it's the coach in us, and it kind of bleeds over into our business life, right? Because
You've probably been a
everybody,
coach since you've probably been a coach since you were a kid, though. You're probably the captain of your sports team. You're probably one of the ones that were leading on the teams. Were you that guy in high school?
I was. I was always part of sports, and I tell people that sports is the biggest part of the education, really. If you think about it, kids that get involved, they relearn.
So
What are they
true.
learning? They're learning teamwork. They got an education of
Leadership.
discipline. I mean, all of that goes into team sports, and my kids were a big part of that scene. I was a big part of that scene, and I think that it actually, in our careers, it bleeds over, right? Wouldn't you say that all those experiences make you a better person and probably a better salesman, a better closer, a better team lead, right? As you grow up. And if I could be anything, a lot of people ask me if you could do any job and get paid for it, what would it be? And to me, it would be a college football coach. I've always dreamed
Right?
about being a college football coach. How awesome would that be?
I love that. And then you seeing it that you're changing these kids' lives and you seeing them that glow in their eyes of excitement, right? And that's
Yeah.
what we're doing. Like you said, we're teaching these guys a new way, skill set to make money that they didn't know about before. And that's my question to you. Like when you're training, you have to have that balance of closing and you've like able to do that. Like, it's not easy. Like I know a lot of people can close really well, but when it comes to training, they're not the best trainers, right? And it could be part of it is like they don't want to give away the secrets. Like, hey, I'm just gonna keep doing my thing and not give it away. But like, how do you? And maybe this has happened evolved over the years, but how do you find that balance of like closing, like lights out, but also giving that time to your guys and a balance of training?
And I tell everybody, and I preach this, you and I both know that when we're selling, what we're doing is we're really educating. Solar sells itself. It really does. It doesn't make sense not to go solar. And our job is to relay that message to the homeowner, right? And so by having a conversation, I'm not one that goes in with a PowerPoint. I don't do any of that. It's more about you called me here for a reason. I'm at this kitchen table. You took this appointment because there is a problem and you want it solved. And I'm here to help you with that. So the first thing is to be able to have a conversation with a homeowner. You need to be able to speak to somebody and be knowledgeable. What I mean by that is you got to know your product and be able to hold a conversation. 50% solar, 50% getting to know the person across the table. A lot of people forget that. We're making friends out there. And so when I have 3 or 4 appointments on the board that day, my mindset is, hey, I'm going to introduce myself to 3 or 4 people. I'm going to make friends with 3 or 4 people. I am going to educate them on solar. I have zero expectations going in. I just do because if you start thinking about the commission or you're keeping your batting average and you're getting upset because you're pitching and missing, it messes with you. And I try not to do that. I just go in, no expectations, make a friend, have a conversation, and tell the customer why they should go with me over somebody else. And hopefully that goes over well. And by the end of the conversation, I never cut it short, right? I tell everybody, your solar presentation, you should be in a house an hour and 45 minutes to 2 hours every time. I mean, you really should
You're closing it. If you're closing it, for
Yeah,
sure.
because if you cut it short, you start cutting corners, you're going to second guess what happened when you miss. And a lot of times it's just because you didn't give that customer their quality time, right? They didn't buy into you. The customer at the end is buying you, and that's what I train. That customer is buying you, not the company. If you made a friend, even if you cost a little bit more, and you made them feel good, and you were knowledgeable, they're going to pick you over somebody else.
But you
75% of the
have
time.
that. Like some people have an unfair advantage. I think you, and I think Michael Donald too. Like you have this trustworthiness look about you. Like before you even talk, I can trust you, right? I think women have the same kind of advantage, and I think that's a gift people we should really use to recruit more women and even older people that think that they're in their field. Like, no, come on over here. Like, how do we recruit more people that have that trustworthiness factor you and I think women have?
No, and I agree with you. We need good people in this industry, and women. There is a shortage, but I have noticed that more and more are jumping in right now. I don't,
Oh yeah.
I have noticed because there's more with Sun Solar Solutions right now, and they're
Nice.
one of our. She's at the top of the board right now. She got better and better. She didn't. A lot of times, what we're seeing right now is people are hearing the success of solar, right? The industry. They're hearing people come in and make a lot of money, so they dive in. And I think we're losing a lot of the talent because they don't give it their skill sets time to mature. We got to build this mental toolbox, and we know that solar doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't. And they're hitting that. I've seen so much talent come in where I'm just like, man, this guy has everything. He's going to be a legend. And then he hits the eject button and he's gone because they're trying to feed their families, right? The money doesn't happen overnight. You're getting paid on installation. It's 60, 70, 80 days away, depending on which company you're working for and what are the MP1s and MP2s and MP3s. A lot of people just can't make it. They have the wrong expectations. They were told they're going to come in, they're going to make $1 million, and they don't see it happening right away, and they don't buy in, and they hit the button. And that's what's sad. So I kind of changed the way I recruit now. When I see somebody, I give them the right expectations. And I think we got to do that, right? I ask them, how much are you making right now in your current job? What are your bills? I get to know that person, that recruit. And that way I know where they're at in life and
Yep.
what it tells me where I need to get them, right? I need to put a plan together. I got to have a 90-day plan. I got to have a 6-month plan. I got to have a year plan, a realistic plan, right? So if you're making 40, 50, $60,000 this year and you're a hustler and you're a people person and you can hold a conversation, there's no reason if you're putting 35 to 40 hours in this job, you should make no less than $150,000, $250,000 that first year. You're just going to accidentally bump into opportunities by putting the time in, and I think with the proper training, somebody, every door they knock on, they're developing this skill set, right? This mental toolbox. Every door you're sharpening those tools, and every time you get to a kitchen counter, you're getting better and better. I think it's being able to have the rebuttals down, right? Answer with confidence. That's going to come with time. And so that's what any recruit that comes in, I think you got to give it time. You got to give it 6 months. You have to buy in for 6 months to be successful. Would you agree?
I'm 100%. And that, what you explained, the grinder, that's the attitude you have to go into. You have to go into knowing that to be successful, you have to grind. If you go into it thinking it's a get rich quick scheme, you're going to be wasting your time for 3 months. And this is a different industry. And as recruiters or as installers or companies, we have to know that sometimes they have no money for 3 months or 2 months. Like that's a no go. And they're not going to be able to work with you, right? So having a plan for them, maybe for their first couple of months, give them early payments or something planned where they're set up for the future, as opposed to like hire everybody you can and whoever sticks will keep. There's different ways of doing it, right?
And what you just said is, I agree with you 100% because I tested it last July and August. My team, I had like 3 setters and I had 1 backup closer. And we tested the setter. It was right when everybody was testing the setter closer model. And I had a team lead who ran the setters, who gave them different territories and a list of all the new homeowners, everybody moving in. And they had to go hit these doors. And we put the setters on salary so that they didn't think that they weren't getting paid, because the hardest thing for these guys coming into the industry right away is they're not going to be able to provide for their family, because it's going to take them a little bit of time to mature and a little bit of time to be able to absorb that, what do you call it, that negativity that we get by knocking on doors, right? We get a lot of that thrown back at our face. And so I don't want them to hit the button. So we tested it. We gave them a $70,000 salary, the 3 setters. And it was like $1,400 a week. But in return, now they're doing what we're asking them to do. Their job is to just go introduce themselves to these 30 or 40 people every day that we gave them. And then while we were doing that, we did the direct mail, the 3-prong attack, and the magazines that I told you about. And so we were a tight unit, and we were running every day for like 8 to 9 hours a day, and we were going to the best appointments. Now these guys are thriving. As they're knocking, they're learning, but they know they have a paycheck every Friday. So if they only had 2 or 3 appointments, it's okay. They're going to make it. But we look back after a month to see what kind of success they had, and then all of a sudden they're becoming superstars, right? And that's, I think it's just being patient with those guys. We did like 575, just the 5 of us. We did 575 in July kilowatts, and then in last August, we did 750 kilowatts in August. And we ended up selling like 53, 54 deals. And I think 615 of those ended up installing, which is an insane amount of success for having 3 setters and just a couple of closers. Because if that's the key, that really is.
I mean, they were set up with the right system. It makes things a lot easier and more predictable, right?
Yeah, you could perfect it. But so I think we moved our whole company that way. And now, if you could, The whole idea behind it is if you have some good setters, you don't want them to want to close, right? You want them to make enough
Yes,
money to be successful setting, right? Because that's
and they
gold.
can. And they can. Like, they don't have to close. Like, I tell the people all the time, like, the solar industry is amazing. You can know nothing about solar, be great at door knocking and making appointments and grabbing a power bill, and make just as much money as the top closer at the company. Like, nothing is holding you back. You don't have to know anything about solar. Like, of course, the more you know, the better. But I mean, like, you can literally start with zero knowledge and start making money.
And I'm finding that some people rather set than close. And
Yes, that's their skill set.
yeah, and the thing is, now I'm trying to figure out how we ever did it before. The one man show where you're actually setting the appointments, and then you're actually closing. I mean, if you think about it, man, you got to really be efficient and manage your day if you're going to be a one man, two man show, right? It's going to be difficult. So I love the setter closer model. I think it's a way to go, and where you can really ramp up volume and build a team and build that unity. But what's crazy is you can also be a one man show, and you can make a lot of money if you know how to manage your time correctly, right? If you know how to set an appointment, if you know how to fish. A lot of people don't know how to fish, they starve.
Yeah, that's true. But you know, you learn, right? And that's
Yeah.
the thing is that some people just they don't learn from everybody around them, and I can be like a sponge. That's where I've been. I just always try to be like a sponge. So I want to give one tip to everybody, a closing tip. You want to give like one good closing tip to everybody listening in?
Who, me? Yeah,
Yeah, we'll
always,
both we'll both
yeah,
do one tip.
assume the sale. A lot of people do
There
all the
you go.
work. They go in there, they find that opportunity, which is the hardest thing of all, right? They find that opportunity, they do all their homework, they get the utility bill, they build this proposal, and then they go in and they pitch it. And they're afraid to ask for the sale. It's already a no. You already have a no. It's a no. And that's what you got to mentally think. You got to ask for the sale, right? What I mean by that is you got to assume it. And so when I always use the assumption close, I'm there for a reason. I am the answer and the solution to your problem. That's why you called me here today. And so when I'm wrapping up, I automatically just assume the sale and go right into who's on the deed, right? Who's on the deed? Are both of you on the deed? Yes. Oh, who has better credit? Oh, my husband has better credit. Okay. Any answer to any of these questions is a green light. They know what you're doing. They know you're pre-qualifying them. And so I once I learned that, my closing numbers just skyrocketed. So and I see that a lot of people that come into the industry, they're afraid to ask for the close. It does take some fearlessness to do it, and it does take time to get that maturity, right, and that confidence to be able to do that. So keep plugging away.
The one thing else that solar pros need to make sure homeowners have expectations on is not to expect the not today. Like, prepare for them to say not today. Like, prepare for them to say no, not right now. Thanks for the information. This has been great. I'm going to get back to you. Expect them to say that and have a plan. Have a system and a plan down, so when they say that, you don't look perplexed like, what? You don't want to
Yeah.
sign with me today? Like, it's totally normal. And you make it a totally normal thing because it is totally normal. We hear almost all the time say not today. But if you don't have a plan, so what I mean by a plan, okay, for example, a plan is a manager call. A manager call is amazing at taking a homeowner from not today to signing papers in 10 minutes. Okay. And it's magic when it works, but you need to practice it. Just like you're practicing overcome the objection, you're practicing your pitch, or you're practicing anything else. You need to practice a manager call with the manager. Like, get them on their phone, practice at the office, say exactly what your lines are going to be, exactly what the manager is going to say. And if you guys don't know what I'm talking about with a manager call, simply it's another way to get a new appointment with the homeowner without leaving the house. It becomes a whole new appointment. The manager can give you a new deal, a new proposition, a new way to get the homeowner signed up. And it could be magic, but it can't be cheesy. And it's just like any performance. It has to be believable. It has to be right on, right on point. But if used properly, A manager call could give you a way higher closing percentage. How
I
about
love
you? Have you
that.
had a success using that?
Was that your technique?
Yeah, but I had a whole system down to the detail of exactly how to answer the objection. Not today, and it was one of the ways I was able to change the culture at the company I was working at.
Yeah, and that is, they're always going to say not today. You know that, I know that. They had a powwow before we showed up, and they looked at
Yeah,
each other and said,
yeah,
"We are not signing anything, no matter what." Usually, it's kind of funny that you say that because usually I'll win over one of them, and I know which one I
yep.
have, and then I'll use that one to help persuade the one that I'm having trouble getting over the hump or pushing over the fence. So it's just kind of yeah, it's just being in so many appointments that you learn all those skills, and people don't even know you're learning them, right? It's just you're learning them through time. Each
It's
appointment
crazy.
you're
Speaking
in.
of time,
Yeah.
I didn't have all these gray hairs 20
Wait, me
years
neither,
ago,
man. I
but
was
every
like,
one of
I'm
them.
looking at I'm looking at myself in your screen there. I got all this gray, and I'm like, oh my lord. Yeah. It's all these years of going to houses and trying to come out with an agreement or a sales contract, right? But I can honestly say the journey's been amazing, and I'm sure yours was too. You got in 8 years ago, you said? Yeah, I got in
Solar, I got in. Go ahead.
2013. I got in with Solar City.
I was in Solar City in 2016, right in the beginning of the year.
Oh, really? Yeah, 2 years
Yeah,
there, and then Sun Solar Solutions opened up March of 2015. And then it was just perfect timing because APS started to do, all the utility companies were trying to get away from net metering and put all those deadlines in place.
Now, are you staying only in Arizona? Do you do any virtual phones?
Well,
Do you believe in that at
we
all?
just got our license in Vegas and Texas. So we're expanding right now. It's something new for us, but we've stayed in Arizona. We just kind of dominated that market for a while. We built a really good brand, very
Yeah.
very strong customer base. I think there's like 10,000 customers we have to date, maybe 11,000 by now, just since 2015.
You guys are killing it. And yeah, I know you guys have a different system than the normal like recruit everybody in the world. Like you have like a strict application system and you make sure you hire the right people. You want to tell everybody a little more about that, how that works?
Yeah, there's a process in place, and I know Michael Donald calls it the race car. But if you're a good sales rep and you want to do nothing but just go out there and make friends and sell, then we're the perfect company for you because for somebody like me that doesn't want to spend a lot of time backtracking, following up with customers, building my own proposals, I just want to go and get to the table and meet people all day long. It's a perfect process for me, and I'm not. People ask me, I ask people, how many proposals do you think that I've put together since we opened in March of 2015? I can honestly tell you that I have never put one proposal together. The office does it for me. They do their homework. They pull all the information from, all the resources that we have. They put it on they put it on the panels on the roof. I send in the usage while I'm making a friend. 25 minutes later, the proposal shows up. I show them 100%. I show them 135%, and then boom, right? We're off to the next one. So if you're a person that just likes to gab and just run from appointment to appointment, that's the way to do it. And that's why Mike and I have been able to do the numbers that we've been able to do because we're not wasting any time. We're moving. And we have a great support team that's behind us that's babysitting the customers for us, which is what every good sales rep needs.
And you said you're going to Nevada. There's actually a new option available in Nevada now for financing. It's called the prepaid PPA. It's where the homeowner who doesn't pay any taxes still gets to keep most of the tax credit, and they split it with the TPO. Have you seen that?
It's the best thing since sliced bread.
Yeah, so it's gonna be available
No,
in Nevada.
I sold. That was my secret weapon when we were with
That's
Sunrun.
what everybody says.
That was my
Yeah.
secret weapon. When I would go into an appointment, and I knew they had cash, and I knew that I'm not the lowest guy. We're not the lowest company. We're not going to be the lowest price, and I knew that. But that I always had that in my back pocket, and I would because it's the cash price. That PPA is the cash price minus the 30%. So it doesn't make sense not to do it, right? A lot of people don't have the tax liability. So I would pull that out. I sold more prepaid leases than anybody. And yeah, I
So
love
this is
it.
a little different. This is a
Huh?
little different than a prepaid lease. So this is actually not a lease; it's actually ownership.
Oh,
So the
really?
homeowner still owns the solar system, and they split the tax credit because they don't get it, and they'll split it with the third party. They keep 20%, and then they keep 10%. So it's 20. It's a 20-10 split.
Oh, wow. You're going to have to explain this to
Yeah,
me. Is
it's
this
only
new?
been available for California, and I sold it to my mom. I've been selling it for years, and now it's finally available in Nevada and Texas. So I'm doing a webinar this week on it.
Oh, man. That's
But
great.
anyway,
You got to tell me about that. Would that work in Arizona, you think?
now Arizona because it's a lease state, but in Nevada, where you're going, it's going to be available. So it'll be a cool product to add to your arsenal.
Yeah, absolutely. See, Joe?
So you guys are killing it. You guys are killing it going to Nevada. What is you guys plan for Nevada and then stay there for a while and take over like you did with Arizona?
Yeah, we're going to hit Nevada pretty hard, and then we're going to go into Texas. So Nevada's first, and I know we're gearing up for that right now. We're going to have boots on the ground here pretty soon, and I know that we're pretty excited about it. It's going to be a big deal.
If anybody can do it, I know you guys can do it. Val is a killer. Obviously, Mike is, and you are. I mean, it's always amazing talking to you. I think I see your career evolving, and it's still evolving. Like now you're more on social media. How's it been going with social media? I see you on Instagram killing it with the
Well, I'm
videos.
learning. I'm learning from people like you and everybody. That I watch. I'm a good people watcher. I like to watch and I see what works. And then you just tweak it. You make your tweaks. So as I'm observing everybody around me and how they're doing it, you don't want to get left behind, right? So I'm trying to perfect my game, but it's difficult. I'm new to this. So putting the video, if I didn't have Serge and these guys here around me, it would be very difficult because I'm not a guy that's going to go and cut and edit footage and put it out there. I don't know who does yours. Yours is always really good, but these guys have been doing.
Shout out Serge Creator.
Yeah,
Serge is the man.
Serge the creator, man. He's amazing, and to have somebody at your beck and call like that can put stuff together and get it out quickly, and then actually help hook me up with people like you. That's huge, right? Somebody that has all the connections. Because I wasn't out there, like I told you, I was in the trenches. And getting out of the trenches now and meeting people like you, it's fascinating and seeing what everybody's doing. And so, just looking for what's next, right? What's next?
I'm excited to see what you got in you, man. I'm excited to see what you got on Instagram too. Are you using anything else besides Instagram, or is
Yeah,
it just
they're doing YouTube, Instagram,
Oh, nice.
Facebook, and a little bit of everything. I think we're actually going to do a little bit of LinkedIn and TikTok. I don't know how well it does on
I,
TikTok. That's kind of new to me, but
I got to get you on my podcast too. I do with Josh King called the Solar Pulse podcast. So get you on there too. Okay.
no, I'm looking forward to it. And thanks for taking the meeting with me, talking with me today, bud. I look forward to seeing you at what's next. What's our next big event?
Yeah, so I'm going to be doing a webinar on August 2nd, depending on when this is going to be out there. But August 2nd at 6 p.m., it's the prepaidppa.com. So it's going to be a free webinar. We're going to go over exactly how it works, the testimonials from people who actually used it, and have a live Q&A session. So it'll be a cool an hour we're going to do next week.
Oh, wow. So it's August 2nd at what time?
6 p.m. PST.
Pacific time. All right.
Yes, sir.
All right. Hey, I'm going to be on that call. You're going to teach me something. That's awesome.
Yeah, let's go. I'm excited. And like I said, I love helping people add new tools to their arsenal. And when they use it and make money from it, what else can we ask for?
Yeah,
Right?
that's what I was trying to tell you. Yeah. I mean, you feel so good, right? So, no,
Yeah, it
thank you.
does.
And it was nice chatting with you, Joe.
Troy Dinbokowitz, everybody. Woo!
Ooh.
Appreciate you, Troy.
Thanks, Joe.
Yeah.